SEMO Homecoming arrives this Saturday. Yes, Broadway to Main Street will be lined with people for the homecoming parade. Then in the afternoon, the big game against Tennessee Tech. But right in between is the ultimate tailgate party. Free food, drink, and music. But you can't get in without a ticket. Get yours this week at Firehouse Subs or Texas Roadhouse in Cape. The ultimate tailgate with SEMO ESPN Radio.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Cold front will roll through the region today, and that's going to bring showers and thunderstorms into the forecast. A few of the storms could be strong to severe later today, a high 86. An early shower this evening with clearing tonight, low 51. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 72. Thursday, sunny skies, highs climbing to 73. Dry weather for the close of the week. Richard DeWinning at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
This is a proud presentation of Mississippi River Radio Sports, the sports authority.
And now, at last,
it's time for the Red Hawks Coaches Show on the SEMO ESPN Radio Sports Network.
I have more to tell you.
The Southeast Coaches Show airs every Tuesday at noon on ESPN 92.9 FM and 1220 AM. Live from Wings, etc. in Cape and Jackson. This is your chance to delve deep into the Red Hawks football season with head coach Tom Matukowicz.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go live to Wings, etc. Let's go! Right here on SEMO ESPN.
It is another edition of the Red Hawks Coaches Show, live from Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we will be here for the next 2 weeks. It is homecoming week. The Red Hawks getting set to take on the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles, a team that they have a winning record against all time at Houck Field, and that is a 7-6 record. And one thing we probably are going to see is a close football game on Saturday. 11 of the last 14 meetings between these two teams have been decided by a touchdown or less. 11 of the last 14 meetings, 7 points or less. We invite you to join us here at Wings. If you're not familiar with where Wings, etc. is, right in front of West Park Mall. They share the parking lot with Steak and Shake. So if you know where either of those two venues are, then you'll find Wings, etc. Award-winning jumbo wings. You can dine in with us or you can carry out, call ahead. They have a full menu besides the wings. Freshly made burgers. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads. You want some smoked ribs? We can do it for you here at Wings. And their famous appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos and their spicy deep-fried pickle spears. Their daily half-pound lunch specials start at just $6.49. It is Wings, etc. Good food, great times. The Red Hawks head coach, Tom Matukowicz, is here, and you have had a bye week. People hear bye week, which only means that you did not have a competitive football game, an official football game on Saturday, but you guys have been doing a lot of work.
Yeah, we have. I think you have a game plan going into the bye week that you decide on in the summer, and that still made a lot of sense, so we just did same as. We still practiced, we lifted, but more than anything, my goal was when I got my coaches and my team on Monday, they were fresh and ready to go on a 6-week grinder. That's, you got to fill your tank back up so that you got that energy to week in and week out do this in the OVC, and so that was the goal. I felt good. We practiced last night, had some good energy. I gave them 3 days off in a row, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is uncommon. But I trust the team. I just feel like they needed time off to breathe a little bit. And so we'll see how that plays out. But I'm looking forward to getting them today at practice. And this is really a big one. This is a full padded practice where we got to really get our first and second down plans in, and our players got to really understand who Tech is and what they try to do and how we're attacking them.
And this is going to be the start of afternoon games only. No more night games. The Red Hawks will play at 1 o'clock at Houck Stadium Saturday. They'll go to Austin Peay next week at 4 o'clock. Then it's off to Jacksonville State, the longest road trip in the league. They will host Martin. They will go to Tennessee State, and then they will host Murray State on Senior Day. Do we know yet the Tennessee State game? Will they be playing that on campus, or will it be at the Coliseum?
I believe it's going to be at the Coliseum.
Okay.
But
because they started playing some home games at their home stadium.
Yep.
I mean, I know they want more of a home field
well, that's
advantage.
the home. What's the home?
I forget what the name of it is.
It's on campus is what we're planning on.
Oh, so it is on campus.
Yeah, I thought
play,
you said Coliseum.
I got you.
I thought that was the
Well,
home.
they play in the Tennessee Titans Coliseum. For those who don't know, when they built that facility for the Titans, they use a lot of state money. And in order to get that state money, the state legislature put a clause in that they had to allow Tennessee State to play their home games there. And anytime there's a home game, all of the amenities, meaning security, concessions, parking, everything that's available on game day for the Titans has to be available. But this particular coach knows that they're never going to fill that up, and so they don't feel that it's a big home field advantage. So they've kind of pumped some money into their home facility, smaller venue. Despite the ability to use an NFL stadium, they've kind of felt like, hey, their home stadium is more of a home field advantage for them. Okay?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think what they've done in the past is early in the year they played there, and then late in the year they played at home. I know they played a lot of classics, obviously, and those type of things, and they want that type of environment. But we'll find out.
So Tennessee Tech, what are the additional challenges? Oh, and by the way, we want to let everybody know Ryder Garrett, the Red Hawks linebacker, fifth-year senior from Farmington, is here. We're going to talk Red Hawk football with Red Hawks linebacker Ryder Garrett a little bit later on in the show. So stay tuned for that. Homecoming week, what other variables are presented on homecoming week that may not be presented during just a normal game week, maybe for your players or your coaches?
Well, a lot of former students come back, and then obviously former players, and so that's really the difference. It's very similar to family weekend as far as a lot of their families will come in, but what's different is now you'll get a lot of guys that played with these guys coming back, and so we'll talk about that again, about distractions, and certainly want to spend that time with friends and family Saturday, but not Friday. And so we kind of, when you're in Division I, you put your team in a hotel on Friday night, even at home. But at this level, we don't have that kind of money, so they're in their own beds, or they're and going in and bed checking 100 people on a Friday night all over town.
Impossible.
Exactly, yeah. So you just got to trust them, and there's certainly no reason not to trust them. But that'll be something. We talk about distractions just like anything. You can't. There might be a lot on your mind. You're trying to organize a weekend and all these things. But when you step foot in the football facility, you need to drown all that out and just focus. I got the same thing. I'm on the radio on Saturday before the game and all these things, and so you can't let any of those distractions get your mindset off of the goal at hand.
And there is the homecoming parade, of course, but the players and coaches rarely involved in the homecoming parade.
Yeah, I think I'm on with Fawn that morning, but other than that's really it.
So what were your thoughts looking around the Ohio Valley Conference? Now, obviously, you can sit back and you can do some scouting. You can watch the Tennessee Tech at Eastern Illinois game live. For those who don't know, Tennessee Tech fell to 0-6 with a last-second loss to Eastern Illinois. They lost 24-23. They had a 48-yard field goal go just wide with 4 seconds left, or they would have won the game, but they ended up losing by 1. First of all, Eastern Illinois is living a charmed life. You're in field goal range late, down 3, they pull it out. They go on the road in double overtime and get a victory over Tennessee State, and then they come back home and survive a field goal that just goes wide that would have beat them. So suddenly they're 3-0 and all the wins by the hair of their chinny chin chin.
Yeah, so, that was the game obviously I paid attention to. And the one thing about Tennessee Tech, and you say, well, why are they 0-6? They're 0-6 because of their turnover margin. They're, I think, negative 1.33 a game or something like that. But really that happened before. The last 2 games they've done a good job of taking care of the football, and I couldn't believe they got up on Eastern Illinois 14-0. Which is tough when you're 0-5 at that time. You're on the road, night game, and his ability to get his team ready to play just shows you a lot about the character of that football team.
Turnover margin overall, they are a -8. Now, that's in overall games. They played 6 games, but in their 3 conference games, Coach, they're only a -1.
Yeah, so
they've
they've
lost
kind
6.
of fixed the early season issues with the turnover, which is why they're in all these games, you know. If they didn't turn over 5 times against Eastern Kentucky, you know, they probably win that football game.
And they still only lost that game by 3 points.
Yeah, so that's really the main thing. That's why we still got to focus on ourselves. We got to win the turnover margin, obviously, and we don't have big margins. So if we don't play well, we won't win.
And winning the turnover margin is something that you did in your last game. I mean, you forced 4 turnovers in your win over Eastern Kentucky, and you had your first turnover-free game. So the game plan going in against the Colonels, can you win the turnover margin? And, yes, it was basically responsible for the victory.
Yeah, that was the thing that when I got my team on Monday, just talked about, let's reflect on the previous game. Let's sit here and talk about why did we have success? What is the things that we did that made us have success? How did that happen? So that we know and can repeat it. And so just really tried to have clarity with the turnover thing. We played smart. You've watched us. I'd love to get your opinion, but we played a little harder. Like there just seemed like a little more we gave each other, and I think that showed up. And we started strong. You know, our goal line stand was huge, and we finished empty. I mean, the whole game we had one level of intensity, and so that's what we really talked about this week, about why we had success, and so they all know and have clarity in the fact of what it was that the reason we had success, and so we can go about trying to repeat it week after week.
Setting the tone on defense, how important is that early in a football game? Because let's face it, your defense has been good through, and again, small sample size, but in conference play, your 2 conference games, you've only given up 2 touchdowns per game on average. You've got the 4th best scoring defense in the Ohio Valley Conference so far through your 2 games. And the third down conversion rate against you is the 2nd lowest of any team in the OVC. So, in other words, you're stopping teams on third down and you're stopping them in the red zone.
Yeah, and so we've been playing well on defense, but we've had bad plays. And so that's why I still feel like we could get better. In the secondary, we're still, we had several penalties that we shouldn't have had, and that we turned a couple guys loose, one on a pass that just basically come down to eye discipline, that when you're young in a secondary, it's tough to play with that discipline. So I still feel like there's room to get better as this football team when you look through there. And I think on defense, it's in the secondary. I think we've given up 11 touchdown passes. They can't run it in there. And so if we can get that fixed, we're going to be a really salty defense.
So what are you seeing then in the secondary? Because when you just look at the athleticism of your players, and that doesn't appear to be the issue.
No, yeah, I think, and when you look at it, it doesn't look like we're not good enough.
Yeah.
It's the fact that all of a sudden it's a slant, right? And so a DB takes his eyes to the because they want to make that pick, and it's not a slant. It's a slow go, a slant and go, and then you give up a touchdown. That's really comes down to discipline. Doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't play in a secondary with a true disciplined mindset, you're going to get exposed. And so that's really what it comes down to. And we playing several first-year players, and Shabari and Al and even McWilliams, been a while since he's played. So it's just one of those things that because we've had so many newcomer starters that we've had some growing pains there. But it has steadily improved each game. There hasn't been the, oh, my God, who was covering that guy. It's at least the windows have been a lot tighter.
And you mentioned Rico McWilliams, who transferred from the University of South Carolina in the Southeastern Conference. He was a no-go for the game against Eastern Kentucky with an injury. He's had, or by game day, he'll have had 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
How's he looking?
He's looking good. He ran last night. Open, he opened up, ran full speed, and was able to do that. So I expect him to be available for sure.
That helps your depth
exactly.
Against a team that has, regardless of whether or not they have their first victory or not, their quarterback has more passing yards than anyone in the league. He leads the league in passing yards.
Exactly. They got good players throwing it too, which you've already talked about. So we got to be ready for Dontez Byrd and their passing game. And really, it's that same thing. You just can't give up the big play. Like if they catch it, it's got to be hit right away. It needs to be in front of you. It can't be over your head.
So you look at the 3 conference games that Tennessee Tech has played. They lose a 3-point game at Eastern Kentucky. They turned the ball over 5 times. They get handled by Jacksonville State, who's going to smoke most teams in the league, at least this year. And then it's a 1-point loss on the road at Eastern Illinois. So this is a team probably that is feeling, man, if a couple of things have gone a little bit differently. So I got to believe they're going to be pretty hungry coming in here.
Yeah, and, the quarterbacks are freshmen, and they still have some young players. So they're still trying to get better. And I could tell you, and I've told my football team, like, we should be the fresher team. I mean, that was a rough road trip on them, right?
Yep.
And then they got another road trip, right? And so, but it only matters if we play harder than them. And they're going to surge on us in first quarter, and they're going to try to punch us, and we got to be able to respond and play harder because we should have more in the tank. But it doesn't matter what you say. It only matters what you do.
The numbers say that you have gotten out of the gate a little slowly in the first quarter, but also one of the things that you remarked about Tennessee Tech, they're the opposite. Despite still looking for that first win, they have gotten out of the blocks quickly, right?
They've played very well, my focus was on finishing games because we hadn't. And for whatever reason, we didn't and haven't. So we changed a lot of things, we're going to try to repeat those things, and so hopefully that pays off to where we could start strong and finish strong.
The only guy in the Ohio Valley Conference that has caught more passes than Christian Wilkerson of the Redhawks is a guy that's coming in here on Saturday. His name is Dontez Byrd, Coach. Want to get your thoughts on him. He has 45 catches for 665 yards already. He's averaging 110 receiving yards per game. And what is amazing is he has 45 catches. The next closest guy on their team has 10.
Yeah.
I mean, he is clearly the go-to guy on this team.
Yeah, and they do a good job getting him the ball because a lot of people say, well, why don't you just every snap double him? Well, that's not possible unless they just stagnate him somewhere and you can know where he's going to be. They really do a good job getting him the ball. The quarterback obviously identifies him, but he's not a really big receiver, but he high points the ball well. He doesn't drop balls. In zone coverage, he'll slide in a window, and so he's going to get his yards. He's gotten his yards and catches on everybody so far. So we got to know where he's at, and we're not going to hold him to 3 catches. Like I said, not even realistic. But we certainly, in critical situations, third down, red zone, and all these things, we got to know where number 1 is.
And describe the type of receiver that he is, because he's not a guy that's going to run a 4.3 40-yard dash, right?
No, not that he's slow, but his game is more route running, ball skills than just taking the top off. And he has ran by some people, but I think that's their game plan.
All right, their quarterback, as I mentioned, leads the league in passing. His name is Andre Sale, 1,375 passing yards, Coach, 7 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, which is not unusual for a young player maybe to have some more interceptions than he does touchdowns. What do you see when you see Andre Sale on film?
I just see a guy that continually improves. When you look at from the first game to right now, he's really gotten better about every game. I think Coach has done a good job with him because of the turnover thing has started to shut off. Like, they don't make those kind of bad decisions. He's not making those bad decisions. And so, they're starting to play well. All
right, Andrew Goldsmith is there. top rusher, at least from the last game, 121 yards. He averaged almost 8 yards per run, had a 41-yard run against Eastern Illinois, and went from not being in the top 10 in rushing all the way to 7th with 342 yards. What do you see when you watch Goldsmith?
Well, they really have two. He obviously did the better job this last weekend. I just think he is more of a threat. I think the other guy gets the tough yards, and it seems like he has a little bit maybe more of a gear. I mean, it's hard to just watch film and necessarily know, but he was able to have long yards against a really good EIU defense.
Yidi Thainrat is the other running back, and he scored a touchdown for them and was on the OVC all-newcomer team a year ago. So, I mean, this was a guy who played at a pretty high level and played well against you last year.
Yep. They coach is committed to the run game. If you watch our two offenses, pretty similar. A lot of big personnel, lots of tight ends, those type of things. And so, they're committed to the run game, even though they've gotten behind a little bit, and so I think they've thrown for a little more yards and stuff like that. But it certainly still starts with the run game and making sure we're in long yardage situations.
At least on paper, and again, I know you're looking at matchups, but in conference-only games, you are throwing the ball very well. Only Tennessee passing offense, only Tech and Eastern Kentucky are passing for more yards per game than you. You're averaging a little over 160 yards passing per game, and they are giving up 231. They are last in pass defense. Is that something you see that maybe you'll be able to make some headway with?
Yeah, I think people have been able to big play them. They've had 61 what we would consider a big plays. 61. They've given up 61 big plays.
That's a lot in 6 games.
So that's 10 a game, and so that's certainly like the biggest thing that's out there is by style on defense. They're lots of pressure, lots of you don't know what's going to happen. So all of a sudden you get a negative yardage play, but then all of a sudden you get a big play. And so that's one of our keys to victory is to be able to create big plays. Those and sometimes are hard to create, but we got to get our good players in their secondary.
All right, and Christian Wilkerson last year, Coach, led the OVC in yards per reception. So he has shown he's a big play down the field guy if you need him to be, right?
Exactly right, and he has great ball skills, and we need to improve on our passing game. Period. I mean, we've had yards, but we're not a good, efficient passing team. I think we got our run game pretty solid. I think we got our O-line going, and now we got to get this passing game more efficient. Not necessarily looking for more yards, but when we throw it, and we have a guy open deep, we got to connect. And that's the what we're working on along with third down. Really on offense, third down is really what is our biggest Achilles heels because it stops drives. I think our third and medium, we're at like 28%. Well, it's 18 drives that stopped on third and medium. 18 drives. You just pick, go half more. That's eight drives you could have started or kept going, which could have led to points. So third down's a big point of emphasis for our offense.
What's your philosophy sometimes? You see now football has migrated a lot to passes behind the line of scrimmage and then see if your guy can go make a play. I know there are a lot of people on third down that say, well, I'd like to see that route at least to the sticks. At least run the route to the sticks. So if the pass is complete, you're not going to come up a yard or two short. What's your philosophy, and does it depend on what the defense is showing you?
Yeah, it really more depends on them. If they're sitting hard on the sticks, like that's, it's tough. But, third downs, there's a reason good teams are good at it, and bad teams are bad at it. And I think a lot has to do with players because you're most of the time it's a one-on-one situation.
Right.
You're playing man, everything's tight. Whether it's pass rush, you win, or whether you're able to protect, or this guy wins on this route, like Jacksonville State flips it out there, and you're like, well, this is going to be terrible. And 80 yards later, it's a touchdown. So, I mean, it still comes down to, third down's a lot to do with players.
Hey, what are Cam Sanders' ball skills? In terms of like implementing him into maybe the screen game or bubble screen, something where you're able to kind of get him the ball in space a little bit, because I know it's a new thing for him. He's always been a defensive guy, but we see what he can do from the line of scrimmage with his 77-yard run last week.
Well, let's just say, my wife tells me all the time, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. But,
I got you.
But I'll say this: it's gotten better, and it's not his fault. Like, he was on defense. Like, we're trying to develop his ball skills.
There's a guy that has helped you, though, Coach, in conference play. Only Jacksonville State is better on kickoff returns, and they have one for a touchdown. You have one for a touchdown. But you're number 1 or number 2 in the league in kickoff returns, number 2 in punt return average in conference play. So those are two areas where you want to be ranked very high, and you are.
Yeah. I think our special teams, we started poorly, but we kind of rebounded in league here and got it going a little bit. And their kickoff team, though, I believe he's had 11 touchbacks of 16 kicks, and they tried if he's kicked it deep, it's been a touchback every time.
That's how strong his leg is. He's also their punter. Yeah.
So there may not be a lot there, but if we can force a lot of punts, he does have a good leg, and so a lot of times he'll kick it to where we can maybe get some plays on him. If you remember last year, we were able to get a long punt return on him. And so hopefully that'll be another plan for us.
Nick Madonia is their kicker's name and punter, and he leads the league with 10 touchbacks. Murray State's kicker has 9, and then the next closest one is 5 with Tennessee State. So just looking at those numbers, this may be the strongest legged kicker in the league coming in here.
And so that's obviously we understand that, and we're not going to sit there and work on kickoff return all week.
Sure.
Because that may not be an option. The wind's supposed to be 10 to 15, and so maybe that'll give us an opportunity there. But certainly, that's why you recruit those type of guys and have them in the NFL and everything, and then you don't have to worry about Cam Sanders.
One thing that we don't talk a whole lot about when you get into the afternoon portion of your schedule, the way Hug Stadium sits, it sits east and west.
Right.
So late in the year when you're driving, or late in the afternoon when you're driving to the east end zone where all of the tents and all the fans are all set up, the sun can actually get in receivers' eyes during that time. Is that a factor? Is that something you work on in practice? Can you duplicate something like that? But it is a factor, isn't it?
It is, and that's why we have pre-games, warm-ups and stuff, so we talk about it. But also wind. It's not just, hey, the wind's this or this. It changes, it swirls. On this red zone, it's a lot different when the wind's blowing here versus this red zone. And so it is, depending on the weather, it could be a major factor.
All right, we're going to have Ryder Garrett on here in just a moment, Coach. He's back. I believe he's enjoying lunch. Yes, he is. He's enjoying the nice cuisine here at Wings, etc. Obviously, his brother Roper had a tremendous career here, and the Garrett name living on with Ryder, who is now a starter at linebacker for you. What can you tell us about your recruitment of Ryder and the time that he's been a Red Hawk, now a fifth-year senior?
Well, he was here before I got here, so I didn't have anything to do with recruiting him. But I'll tell you what I'm the most proud of is he walked on and earned a scholarship. He's on our Unity Council, and he's a great boyfriend. He has an amazing girlfriend. She's a ginger, so obviously he doesn't hold that against guys like you.
Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Right.
So she's a ginger, so you could tell that he doesn't hold that against people. And, he's just raised well, like just blue-collar parents, and that, took pride in how they raised their children, and just super proud of who he is and who he's becoming.
And from Farmington High School, now we'll ask him about Roper, but have you seen Roper since he's finished up his eligibility?
No, he keeps putting a bunch of pictures on the internet, so I don't know why he's doing that. But he's somewhere working out, because that's what his Twitter feed looks like. You know, it's just like, do you take pictures of yourself?
No.
And put it on the internet?
Can't do it.
Man, it's a different, like, I couldn't imagine me just sitting in front of a mirror and, like, snapping a picture. Like, I don't know. I missed that, I guess.
I guess the young people call those selfies, Coach.
Or, selfies, yeah.
Taking a selfie. All right, we'll talk with Ryder Garrett when we come back. Coach Tuke is here. We're at the Cape Girardeau Wings, etc. The Red Hawks host Tennessee Tech for homecoming Saturday at 1 o'clock. We'll take a timeout and return to Wings, etc., the Red Hawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
About sports is that unexpected surprise performance, that big play from a rookie or free agent. And that's what's great about Wings, etc. Grill and Pub. You know about our wings, but the surprise is all of our etc. Sandwiches, wraps, quesadillas, salads, subs, seafood, amazing appetizers, and awesome daily specials. Sure, you love our award-winning wings, but don't forget our etc. And now, when you can't eat, drink, and watch here, order online for pickup at togo.wingsetc.com. Wings, etc. Grill and Pub. Good food, great times.
What does it sound like when SEMO Homecoming arrives this Saturday? Yes, Broadway to Main Street will be lined with people for the homecoming parade. Then in the afternoon,
be in your shoes when it comes to advertising. Newspaper, radio, TV. This rep will tell you that. Another rep tells you this. What do you believe? Well, now there's a website you can check out that has information on local radio stations, how your advertising can get results, and how it compares. Read up when you get a chance. You may just find how to achieve that success you deserve.
Visit SEMOadvertising.com to learn more. That's SEMOadvertising.com.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Cold front will roll through the region today, and that's going to bring showers and thunderstorms into the forecast. A few of the storms could be strong to severe later today, a high 86. An early shower this evening with clearing tonight, low 51. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 72. Thursday, sunny skies, highs climbing to 73. Dry weather for the close of the week. Richard Wedding at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast. Breaking on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Welcome back to the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We are at Wings, etc. in Cape Girardeau. This programming notes, we will be right back here at the Cape Girardeau Wings next week. Red Hawks will be getting ready to head to Austin Peay after their homecoming game this week. And we invite you to join us. Their dining rooms, you'll notice right away, are filled with their high-def TVs. And they've always got the best sports programming, including the NFL Sunday Ticket. You can watch college football in here. Of course, once the Red Hawks beat Tennessee Tech on Saturday, you want to come in here and watch some of the later games. You want to watch all of the NFL games on Sunday, you can do it here. And if you're coming for lunch, don't forget about their half-pound lunch specials at just $6.49. They have food and drink specials throughout the week. They've got their 59-cent wings every Monday. And, of course, they've got a family-friendly kids menu. And they are open 7 days a week and late on the weekends because the games run late. It is Wings, etc. Good food, great time, and we invite you to join us. We've still got plenty of time left in the lunch hour. Ryder Garrett, Red Hawks senior linebacker. Now, you said wings, but was it bone in or bone out for the wings for you?
Oh, bone out.
Bone out. Now, that sounds like someone like me thinking about, man, I don't need the sauce underneath my fingernails and all over my hands. Is that your thought?
Yeah, I just didn't want to get too messy before I came up here and you came on the show, and I just didn't want to, have to even change my shirt to get it everywhere. So. All
right, Coach Tuke was saying that Roper had been putting a lot of apparently selfies out online. What can you tell us about Roper? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's actually living in Cincinnati now with his fiance, who's going to pharmacy school out there in Cincinnati, and he's training and working out there, just keeping it up.
Fantastic. Cincinnati, Ohio. You ever been there? You ever been to Cincinnati?
I have not. I mean, we had a game in Dayton, so they came to that, but no, never been to Cincinnati.
That was kind of an odd deal at Dayton, because I guess they play a lot of high school football there. Did you notice that? It was like it was like
a public, like a arena kind of thing. It was a public field.
Right.
They had all types of games that you could tell.
You come from a program in Farmington, though, that's very interesting, because you guys had a ton of success when you were there. I know they haven't really duplicated the success over the last few years, although it looks like they are trending back in the right direction. But you guys have so much local support there that I guess you were one of the first teams in the area that actually got turf, right?
Oh, yeah. Funny story about the turf we got. It was actually our rival school, North County. Some of their kids actually came, and I have an older sister who was in high school at the time, and they like spray painted the field and track, and then they got in trouble. So North County had to actually pay for our new turf field that we got in like 2007, I think.
So North County paid for the very first turf field.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
I know.
That is great. And so, yeah, the Raiders are your arch rival. Now, in your 4 years, did you play? How many years of varsity did you play?
I played 3.
Okay, so your 3 years of varsity, what was your record against North County?
Ooh, I think we were 2-2. We lost my senior year. We lost to them twice. They were pretty good. But the first 2 years, we gave it to them pretty well. All
right. Tell us about what it was like to be a Farmington Knight. You guys, now at the time, were you guys running that sling it all over the field offense, or were you running the triple option, which they run now? They totally revamped their offense.
Yeah, it was a different coach at the time, and we just spread it out. We ran spread and quick huddle, and like we would just go as fast as we can and just throw the ball around and do it, to spread people out, and it worked really good. We had really good athletes in our couple grades that I was there, and it worked really well. We put up a lot of points on a lot of teams.
Now, did you play any offense in high school?
Yeah. Not a whole lot. My sophomore year, I played tight end, which we didn't run a whole lot of because it's kind of our nature of our offense. But junior year, I played left tackle because we had a injury, and I was obviously undersized, but I could get the job done. So I played left tackle, and then my senior year, I went out and played wide receiver for the first 4 games, and then we had another injury, so I had to go back to left tackle.
So what did you like? Now, obviously, you like defense, but what did you like most when you played offense? Wide out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's always fun to get the ball in your hands and, just, get out there, catch a ball, and make a move. It's really nice.
Now, did Roper play any offense?
Yeah, he played a lot of offense. Definitely his sophomore year. He played running back, and he was our leading rusher sophomore year. And then we had also another, the injury that we had. He played his junior and senior year. He played a little bit of left tackle and a little bit of fullback because of injuries, and he was a bigger dude. And so he didn't play as much running back, which obviously helped him out defensively. He could be a little more rested instead of taking every snap at running back. But, yeah.
That's what I was going to ask you. How much, I know you're young and you're in physically great shape, but how much does it take out of you to be playing every snap on defense and most every snap on offense?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Like my senior year, I played every snap, the whole game, and you'd be so dead, you wouldn't even want to move the next day, and it would take so much out of you that it was bad. But
give me a highlight, a couple of great highlights from the Farmington program when you were there. Some of the great moments when you played football for the Knights.
Some of the great moments. We had the year that we went to semis, so my junior year, Roper's senior year, we had a great team, and we were just smacking people. And then quarterfinal game, we Gateway Tech from St. Louis comes down, and they not really give it to us, but we're down 14-0 going into the fourth quarter. And then we switched our offense up and brought in tight end, we thought maybe we kind of heavied up the box because they're a little more athletic, and we just started running the ball, and we ran the ball for almost, I think it was about 250 yards in the fourth quarter and scored 4 touchdowns to win the game. So It was a really sweet.
And this was a pass-first offense,
Yeah.
but you made the adjustment of hey, let's run it.
Yeah, we brought a tight end and a fullback, and we started just pounding it, and it worked. And like they just couldn't stop us, even though they knew it was coming. And yeah, we came out, and then we ended up going to the semis after that. So it was a really cool experience.
Now, who did you lose to in the semifinals?
MICDS at the time.
Did they win? Did they win it that year?
No, I think they had a big shootout with Webb City, like 60-40, something like that.
How about Webb City, man? They win almost every other year, don't they?
Yeah, that was crazy. Like every year, it was like, oh, who's from our side of the state trying to go play Webb City? Like it was, they were like a for sure in because they were just winning all the time. So
when you were the left tackle, was your quarterback a right-handed or a left-handed thrower?
Right-handed.
Okay, so then you're the blindside guy.
Yeah.
A little more responsibility there?
Yeah, it definitely was. That's why they put me there. They knew I was reliable. They knew I knew the plays and stuff like that. Maybe I wasn't the biggest, but they knew I could get the job done. So that's why they really wanted me there.
All right, what are your thoughts here? This is your senior season. It's 5 years. Does it seem like you've been there 5 years now?
Oh no, it flew by. I can remember when I first came here during the summer and just had no idea where to go on campus and I was lost. Thought it was the biggest place on earth. Now I just can't believe it's been 5 years. It's crazy.
How satisfying was it to knock off Eastern Kentucky? That's a team that has had your guys' number the last few years. I think the last win over Eastern Kentucky was the year they won the OVC championship, which was 2010. So it had been a while since a Red Hawk team had beaten Eastern Kentucky. Not only did you beat them, but you beat them decisively.
Yeah. It's a great feeling. I mean, since I've been here, we haven't beat them like you said. And then last year we were there and it was in a dog fight, and I thought we could easily won that game. We ended up losing it. So when they came here, it was a great opportunity for us to get a first win for everybody on the team against them. And this is the way we did it. We came out defensively, stopped them a couple of times, got the momentum, and they started rolling in the first half. And it's a great thing to see our team really get going like that.
All right, now what's it like when you put together a goal line stand like the defensive unit did there on that opening drive for Eastern Kentucky? I mean, they ran 4 plays from the 2-yard line, and they gained nothing. 3 running plays and 1 passing play. Tell us what it's like to put something like that together and really establish momentum in the football game. I mean, that gave you all the momentum.
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. I mean, like going into it, we have a pretty a good mindset that people ain't gonna run against us, and it's like we're really physical at the point of attack, and we really focus on that. And like we knew that like if we get after them, that we can do it. And like so, doing it and setting it, and like actually setting the edge, and actually going and hitting them and stopping them, is a really amazing feeling, and it gives you so much more confidence. So like now they're like, oh, they knew, like they just had to get 2 yards, they can't even get 2 yards. That like gives the defense the confidence to stop them the rest of the game because we stopped them there.
And then what's the mindset then? They drive it down the field again. They get in field goal range. They line up for a field goal and clank it off the upright. What's that like?
Oh, that's an awesome feeling as well because, yeah, we stopped them the time before and we're driving down. People are scared, like, oh, shoot, here they come. And then we held them, and then they kicked this field goal. And, like, sometimes, like, they're like, oh, that's 3 points. But we put a lot of pressure on them. We really try hard on those extra points and field goals to block them and to, even just to mess with them a little bit. And that's what happened. And it got in his way or, it threw him off the timing, and he ended up missing it, which is huge. Points off the board.
What's it like playing with guys like Chad Meredith and Kendall Donnerson? I mean, guys who are really disruptive on the edge.
It's actually really nice. Definitely be on the inside because they're so dominant. Like they're so dominant off the edge that like the quarterbacks will step up or like the O-lineman will go out first, and like it leaves us open sometimes to like blitz and like to get home and stuff like that. It's really comforting. And then on the run plays, being so athletic and long as they are, when they bust it outside, it's not really too much of a worry because like, oh, I have Chad out there, he's going to stop him. Or I have Kendall, he's going to get him down. And it's really comforting so I can play my duties and like really focus on it and do my job.
The most athletic linebackers you've ever been around?
Oh, yeah, by far.
All right, this team that's coming in here, Tennessee Tech, not only They have the #1 passer in the league in terms of passing yards, and Andre Sale. But they've got 2 running backs that are good. Yee Thainrad, who was All-OVC newcomer team last year, and then Goldsmith, who ran for 121 yards last week against Eastern Illinois. So this is an offense that at least they gained 197 yards rushing. Now, they lost 28 yards because of 5 sacks, but in terms of just running yards from scrimmage, 197 rushing yards just last week against Eastern Illinois. So it sounds to me like this is going to be a big challenge to slow down their running game.
Yeah, it is. We watched a little film on them, and we got some reports on them, and like we've seen that like they like to mix it up. They go to 11, 12 personnel with tight ends or 2, and then they like to run it downhill. And the running backs, both of them, can bring it a little bit. Like they can both, give it in and thump it a little bit. They're both good-sized backs. And then some of them can also wiggle a little bit. So you can tell they really like to run if they can. And if they see it working, they'll keep on doing it. And, I mean, our mentality is to stop the run. So I feel like if we go out there and do what we can do to stop them, they're going to start throwing it more because they like to do they seem like they like to do whatever is working for them that day.
Ryder Garrett is our guest, Redhawks linebacker, already with 11 tackles this season, 1 behind the line of scrimmage, a quarterback hurry as well. You look at the guy who is catching most of their balls, Dontez Bird, 45 catches already to lead the entire conference, and he caught 10 passes last week. So, teams are scouting Tennessee Tech. They know that he's the main guy, and he's still racking up double-digit catches every game. I mean, this is a guy you definitely are going to have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. Defensive late, we would definitely keep an eye on him. We'll figure out where he's at and probably game plan a little bit around him. Like Tuke said, that you don't know where he's at all the time, and you can't control that. But, I mean, from my point of view as a linebackers, and, like, even the DBs will cover them, but as a linebacker, I can help out by either getting underneath the routes or I can help by getting home and, like, hurrying up the quarterback so it'd be a bad throw or even sacking them before you can get the ball off.
All right, homecoming. You got how many family members and friends do you got coming in this weekend?
I don't know. There's a good amount coming down, that's for sure. I have friends that already go here and all types of stuff. They're all pretty pumped for homecoming. Roper
coming down?
I think so.
All right.
I think this is the game he's flying in for. So yeah,
going to be fantastic. So what are your thoughts on Tennessee Tech going into this game? And you get a 1:00 kickoff. You don't have to wait around all day to play.
That's true. I think they're going to be. I think they're a good team. Like hitting on we're talking earlier that they like to come out and they come out fast and score a lot and I think that if we can, take that first punch, or if we can stop them from doing that, I think it would stop their momentum. And I feel like they're a team that won't stop fighting, but I feel like they can. I feel like they will see someone that can take the punches, and like they might not want to go anymore, and then we can outlast them in the fourth quarter because of the stuff we do.
1:00 kickoff. Now, are you a fan of the earlier kickoff so you don't have to wait around all day?
Yeah. I mean, night games are cool, underneath the lights and stuff. But yeah, I like to play in it earlier, so you're not, sitting around 5 hours of the day just doing nothing, just waiting.
Well, I've broadcast some games at your high school, so it's a little different setup than Houck Stadium, where they've got all of the tents and all the fans just right there outside the end zone. It's a unique thing. I mean, it doesn't matter what stadiums we're traveling to. Nobody's got a setup like it is at Houck Stadium. How cool is that to have the fans on you that closely there in the end zone?
Oh, it's really incredible because like you can actually like hear them and you can like feel their presence there. It's really nice, and like you can just see them get all hyped, and it kind of gets our momentum going too when we make a big play and like they're going nuts. Like it's really nice to get us going to see that.
Going to be fun. 1:00 on Saturday. It'll be the homecoming game. We wish you the best of luck in the game and for the rest of the season, Ryder. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. That's Ryder Garrett, Redhawks linebacker. We will take a timeout here from Wings, Etc., the Coaches Show. Coach Tuke will rejoin us, and we'll get you ready for the homecoming matchup with Tennessee Tech. And, well, how about the schedule in the OVC coming up on Saturday? We'll run through that as well. It's the Wings, Etc., Redhawks Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
Size does matter, and no one knows it better than Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. Wings Etc. has the biggest, meatiest, award-winning jumbo wings in town. If you love wings and a whole menu of great food and drink options and tons of flat screens tuned into sports, we've got you covered. And now, when you can't eat here, order online for pickup at togo.wingsetc.com. It's fast, easy, and convenient. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub. Good food, great times, and online ordering at togo.wingsetc.com.
If you're a business owner, believe me, I know what it's like to be in your shoes when it comes to advertising. Newspaper, radio, TV. This rep will tell you that, another rep tells you this. What do you believe? Well, now there's a website you can check out that has information on local radio stations, how your advertising can get results, and how it compares. Read up when you get a chance. You may just find how to achieve that success you deserve.
Visit SEMOadvertising.com to learn more. That's SEMOadvertising.com.
What does it sound like when SEMO Homecoming arrives this Saturday? Yes, Broadway to Main Street will be lined with people for the homecoming parade. Then in the afternoon, the big game against Tennessee Tech. But right in between is the ultimate tailgate party. Free food, drink, and music. But you can't get in without a ticket. Get yours this week at Firehouse Subs or Texas Roadhouse UK. The ultimate tailgate with SEMO ESPN Radio.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
Cold front will roll through the region today.
It's
and that's
white
bring
meat
showers and
and a wing
thunderstorms
and
into
dark.
the forecast. A few of the storms could be strong to severe later today. A high 86. An early shower this evening with clearing tonight, low 51. Sunshine tomorrow with a high 72. Thursday, sunny skies, highs climbing to 73. Dry weather for the close of the week. Richard Duvetta, the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
Well, dude, obviously you'd be better as the focal point of the show. Would I be better for society? No.
The Ryan Russillo Show, weekdays at noon on SEMO ESPN and SEMOESPN.com.
Final segment of the Red Hawks Coaches Show with Coach Tom Matukowicz. We are at Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and we'll be right back here next week, next Tuesday at 12 noon. We hope you can join us then, and hopefully we'll be talking about a big Red Hawk win over Tennessee Tech. And again, that is going to be a 1 o'clock kickoff, and it's going to be the 26th all-time meeting between these two teams. And the Red Hawks, since moving to Division I, 12 and 24 all-time in homecoming games. And Coach took 11 or 8 of the last 11 meetings with Tennessee Tech, or 11 of the last 14 meetings, have been decided by a touchdown or less. I mean, that says that, you know, you can never predict football, but 11 out of 14 would suggest that it's probably going to be a close game. It was a 1-point game. They got you in Cookeville last year.
Yeah, it's been a close contest, and you know, that was a rough game for us last year because you really feel like you played a lot. You outplayed them in a lot of areas, and then we had to settle for field goals in the red zone, and then ended up missing several of those, and you end up losing the game by 1. We threw a pick 6. And so it was just kind of a heart-wrenching game, really tough to lose. So
and they had a fifth-year transfer quarterback
that played well, and
he was a good player.
Yeah, so you know, really looking forward to playing these guys this weekend.
Now, they have given up more sacks than any team in the league in conference games. They got sacked 5 times last week. What are you seeing there?
It's the same. They haven't gotten any sacks either. So I think you know, you're just not sure if they've been in long yardage or they're getting more pressure, you know, but it's certainly been an issue, and I think we've done a good job of getting to the quarterback, affecting the quarterback, and that's got to be the same plan.
All right, going into this game, in conference play, you are 4th in the league in sacks. You're getting about 2.5 sacks per game, and you've had sacks in consecutive games. They have, in terms of getting to the quarterback, they have just 1 sack so far in conference games, Tennessee Tech. Now, you are the only team in the league in conference play that has not given up a sack. In your 2 conference games, you have not let your quarterback, Jesse Hoskett, be sacked. I know Some of that is on the offensive line. Some of that is on Jesse getting rid of the football.
Well, our protection still needs to improve, and so that's part of it. But I think Jesse, he knows. Certainly in a game like last week, we're doing okay. Not to press it, but we also need to continue to get better there. But that's a great job at not getting sacked. So I think with 3 new starters in the offensive line, it says a lot about our offensive line coach and those offensive linemen really buying into trying to get better there.
What are you seeing there? Because sometimes it can be deceiving. Okay, you're not getting your quarterback sacked, but at the same time, maybe the quarterback is being rushed more often than you would like, which would imply that other teams are getting pressure. How are you grading out your offensive line so far in the passing game?
Well, I would say I'd give them a C plus. Just because, you always grade people what they can be and what they are. Right. And so I still feel like there's more they can do, and I think it takes time and, but that's where we can have growth. I think that'll help our third down. I think that'll help our passing efficiency to where, from the turnovers to the touchdowns in the red zone, all that.
And at least through 2 conference games, Coach, you're averaging 202 rushing yards per game. So you're 3rd in the league in rushing offense in the 2 conference games that you've played. So they are opening up some holes up front for Marquez Terry and Cam Sanders. Yeah,
I really felt like they just imposed their will a little better. And we also got our good players out in space, and that helped. And I think Marquez Terry is one of the best in the league. I love, what he is as a competitor. He's quiet, he doesn't say much, but just love how he plays and how he practices.
Last week, we talked about some of the scores. Jacksonville rolled up Austin Peay 34 points. Austin Peay, that was at home. That was a decently competitive game, whereas in years past, Austin Peay can't stay on the field.
Yeah, obviously Austin Peay is better. We lost several recruits to them last year, and so obviously the investment in the facilities and all those things are really starting to pay off for them. I have not seen it. We haven't followed them, so I haven't seen them on film yet.
Right. And then I guess the upset of the weekend was UT Martin ranked 25th at home, losing to Murray State on a field goal at the horn as time expired, 13-10. And you and I were talking, UT Martin's offense has kind of gone missing in action so far.
Yeah, they haven't scored an offensive touchdown. That was a defensive score. So I think it's that same thing. They turn the ball over a little bit, and then all of a sudden, look out. And I think the defenses in this league are pretty good. You look through the scores, there's not a lot of 50s. They're all in the 20s. That margin now, all of a sudden, everybody's going to be close. If you can't play some defense, you're going to be with a score or 2 scores of everybody you play.
Games from around the league this week. Murray State will host Eastern Illinois, and again they win by just a razor-thin margin every week. Eastern Illinois 3-0. Eastern Kentucky has the bad fortune to travel down to Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State now up to number 3 in the national polls, and what could be a really good game, Coach. Be a close eye on this one, and obviously you will, because Austin Peay will be your opponent in 2 weeks. But Austin Peay at Tennessee State.
Yeah.
That looks like it could be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and that'll definitely be one I'll follow after our game, since we're a 1 o'clock game. I haven't watched a football game yet. I have not seen a football game yet, like on ESPN. The only football I watch is the Red Hawks. One is because we got night games, and so I'm busy all the way, and then when I get home, I'm exhausted or whatever. So. But then even Thursday nights, Friday nights, we've just been busy trying to get the team better. And so that'll be a game that I'll try to flip on and watch, because there are some things you can pick up from a TV copy that you can't necessarily from a coach's copy, whether it's a feel for the game or some signals or just, there's a lot of data out there that if you're observant, you can pick up some tendencies.
All right, so the Red Hawk fans who are tuning in here, what are the keys to victory for you on Saturday against Tennessee Tech?
Well, one is to continue the trend that we're on the turnover margin, but we need to continue to try and get better with our penalties. You know, we're 85 a game yards, and so we got to try and cut that down in half, particularly offensive holding and defensive holding or pass interference. Those are the two calls that just kill you that we got to try and get away from. Offensively, just got to play better on third down, and defensively, we just need to play with more discipline in the secondary.
It's interesting because the two penalties that you referenced are just drive killers on offense. They kill any drive, it seems like, and then they're drive extenders
exactly.
on defense.
They're completely avoidable. Like if you're in a bad position on a guy, don't hold him. You're already going to cost us. It's going to be a bad play anyway. Don't make it worse. And then now you don't give chance for Jesse to maybe get out of the way or whatever, you know. So it's an education system, but we have improved. But we need that to show up on Saturday because they're one of the least penalized teams.
Yeah. All right, it's going to be a 1 o'clock homecoming game on Saturday. We'll see you over at Houck Stadium, Coach. Thanks so much for your time. That's Coach Tom Matukowicz, and that is going to do it here from Wings, Etc. in Cape. Thanks again to Ryder Garrett, Red Hawks senior linebacker, for joining us, and we hope you'll join us at Houck Stadium. Don't forget, come by and be at the tailgate. And if you want to come to the exclusive River Radio tailgate, you need to stop by and get your tailgate tickets. Each person is allowed to get 2 free tickets, and that is at Texas Roadhouse and Firehouse Subs. And those tickets have been going quickly. Is a very popular tent, our tailgate tent at the Red Hawks tailgate in front of Houck Stadium. So make sure you get over there before the tickets are gone. That is Firehouse Subs and Texas Roadhouse. Again, thanks so much for joining us. We'll get you back to the Ryan Russillo Show here on ESPN Radio. And hope to see you at Houck Stadium at 1 o'clock for the homecoming game on Saturday. So long, everybody.
Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Sports Network, 92.9 KLSC Malden, 1220 KGIR Cape Girardeau, and 1470 KMAL Malden.
In the aftermath of the Odell Beckham Jr. Injury, right? As soon as that happens, what happens? Oh, that's why you got to get paid. That's why you got to hold out. That's why you got to do all these things. Here's Louis Riddick presenting that question this morning.
I saw all the things that I hoped to see. I saw athleticism. I saw when you have the hammer and you have the leverage, you better use it as a player. And this is having been on the other side of it, too, because I know that the team will use it against you when they're trying to do the best deal for the club. The player is charged with, and the player's agent is charged with, maximize cash to the player. Keep the player protected because we know how quickly your career can end in this game. And you know that's what Odell was